Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame, and this is the review for the third episode of Cherish the Day. So, this episode started out with what at first I thought was the morning after Gently and Evan consummated their situationship, meaning like right after he, had that injury with his ankle. But no, this is 3 months down the road and they are official. They are literally boyfriend and girlfriend. So they at his house in the bed sleeping. Well, actually, Evan is sleeping. And Gently is, up and just, looking at her man, taking a gander at all of that, just laying there. And then she like kisses his like arm or something and he kind of wakes up. And, he's trying to understand, like, okay, what's going on? How long have you been up? And, she was just trying to, look at him and watch the sun rise and, just enjoying the small things in life. And he was here for that. So, y'all, he has been trying to get her to go to this party. And we eventually find out that it's actually his parents' anniversary. Their 40th wedding anniversary. My parents just celebrated their 37th 2 days before my birthday, which means I was conceived a year and 2 days after my parents got married. Anyway, yeah, so that is a milestone, and I'm kind of in my mind trying to prepare myself for my parents' 40th anniversary and all that stuff. If everybody makes it to that, with different years, you get certain things and all that. So I'm kind of excited because my parents are everything. But anyway, y'all, I'm sorry. But, she was like, well, I told you I'm not trying to go to that or whatever. And so he was finally able to convince her to go because she was dead set against going. And he was like, I really want you to meet my parents. And I was just like, wow, that is so sweet. And it is. It really is sweet. So he goes and he's taking a shower. So while he's getting, the shower ready, he's kind of trying to talk to her. And she gets a phone call. Her phone is on vibrate. And so she's trying to figure out what's going on. Y'all, her mama has called her. Her mama calling and texting and all this other stuff. And I think she missed the call, but she called the number back. No, she was talking to the person. And like I said, it was her mama, and y'all, her mama do the most. Her mama she gotta be a druggie. She gotta be on drugs. She gotta be. And that's what I was wondering when she didn't want to really talk about her mama before. I'm like, well, it sounds like her mama might be on drugs and just be out in the streets. And even though her father was lost to the streets literally and he died, her mama was lost to the streets too, and that's sad. So anyway, she over here promising to like move some stuff around so that she can spend time with her mama. And so he come out because this whole time he had been trying to talk to her. He's really excited. Like, he's genuinely excited for her to meet his folks. And she ain't even listening to him no more. She done tipped on over to the side and trying to talk to her mama. And so, he was like, was everything all right? When she got off the phone, and she was like, yeah, everything's fine. But he was so sweet. Before that phone call came in, he was like, look, I want to be around you. You don't understand. I want to be around you like all the time. Like, no matter what he does. I was like, that's what I was talking about. I'm not talking about smothering, but I'm just like, whenever you're doing things, for you to have a thought to just be like, I want my significant other to be there with me when I take this step or whatever. That is amazing. You don't always have to be there, but I'm just saying it's amazing that you love that person enough or you care about that person enough and you vibe so well with this person to the point where that's how you feel. I always thought that was really sweet. So anyway, y'all. She went to go see her uncle, her parent, as she called him, and he was like, look, I already know why you're here. Now, before we even get to that part, he was out on the porch He had on one of those. If y'all ever saw 90 Day Fiance, if y'all ever saw 90 Day Fiance, that dude who had that gold mask thing, he ended up having some of those on. And so he got a woman over at the house, and she trying to figure out who was the woman. So the woman come out the door. I was like, oh, okay, yes. And, he is like all the way here for her. Like, you can tell his nose is open. So she ended up giving her some free products and stuff too. But, after everything was over and the woman went on about her business, gently was like, I need to talk to you. So he was like, I already know why you over here. I know your mama in town. Your mama can't stay here. The last time she was here, some things came up missing. Like, no. And it was just to the point where he was like, for years, we've tried to, kind of protect you and all this other stuff, but you've grown and you just gonna have to understand that your mama is who she is. She ain't gonna change. And you trying to get something out of a person that she can't, she's the type of person, she just can't give you what you're looking for. You're grown now. Like, it just, you can't expect people to just keep trying to tiptoe around the issue. And we all know how your mama really is. So, like, it really hurt her. And you can tell that she's still broken. Like, she's grown. That girl is grown. And she's so broken because she already didn't grow up with her daddy. Even though her daddy wasn't around like that anyway. Her mama wasn't around. And we'll get to that a little bit later on. Some of the stuff we find out, which is still even more sad when you hear it. Like, it's crazy. But, he was just like, look, anybody got time? So it got to the point where, she discussed how she and Evan were doing. And she was just like, I've never met a guy like him before. He is just so nice. He is just so sweet to me. Like, he genuinely cares about me. And so he was like, well, you need to bring him around here or whatever, because, they just be so baited up that he don't even be coming around there with her. So, and like, she was still in her feelings to the point where like, she really was about to cry. I was like, Lord, it's too much. So anyway, she keep on calling her mama throughout the show. She gets the voicemail over and over and over again. And, she was trying to get her mama set up. And that situation didn't work out. So later on, she ended up calling her and was like, look, so change your plans. I'm going to set you up in a hotel. You can go on ahead and get you some room service. We can spend time together and all this other stuff. So I was like, girl, you doing too much for somebody who don't. I mean, I understand that that's the person who gave birth to you, but it seems as though she is not going to be deserving of none of the attention that you're trying to throw all around her and at her. Like, no. So anyway, Evan went to go meet up with Gently, and this is when he was going to actually meet Miss Luma for the first time, and that, of course, is Cicely Tyson's character. So he's waiting for Gently, and Gently's late as usual, and so he was about to turn back around and I guess go sit and wait in his car, and Miss Luma, she was all, hovering around the door looking anyway, and as soon as he was going to try to leave, she ended up coming out there and, introducing herself and all that stuff. So she was like, well, you might as well come on in. You know how she is. So, he was like, oh, well, she said she'll be 5 minutes. And y'all know, usually when somebody say 5 minutes, it's longer than that. So anyway, they start talking and she done set it off, y'all. She done sat up here and made sun tea. I don't know if you know about sun tea, but it's basically tea that is brewed out in the sun and all that. And I don't know, I might be wrong. Ava DuVernay, let me know, girl. Was that supposed to be some tea cakes that she had on the little tray too? Because I got my entire life and it made me think of my granny. It made me think of my granny for a minute when I saw that. I was like, are those tea cakes? Are those tea cakes? Oh my gosh, I don't understand. My grandmama she was pretty famous for her tea cakes. Tea cakes they are so light and dainty, and they ain't like super duper sweet, but they are really good. And when I saw that, I was like, are those tea cakes or cookies? But, it's the same thing, but not really. But you know what I'm saying. Anyway, y'all, I'm sorry. But I got my life. I was like, okay, come on through with the sun tea. So, they're chatting it up and getting to know one another. And he ends up listening to music and all this other stuff. So, Gently arrives. And she was like, well, I'm going to get ready. Give me 5 minutes. So, she got to go get ready for the little dinner party that's going to be for his people. And so everybody know what that means yet again. It's going to be a while. So he's going to be listening to some of the records that Miss Luma has. So one of the records that he put on was, if I'm not mistaken, it's entitled Strawberry Letter 22. And what's the name of the group? Is it the Johnson Brothers or something? I probably say that all the way wrong. But as soon as I heard it come on, I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hello, my love. Wait a minute. I was so excited. Y'all understand? You would think I grew up like in a different time, like the music that I live for sometimes. Like I be living for it. Anyway, that's a good song. And there have been several people who have sampled and or covered that song. Tevin Campbell, namely one of them. I think the version of it that he did was like more upbeat. But yeah, it was still really good considering. Back in the day is what he did. That was a good song. Anyway, she said that, you know, that record was given to her, was sent to her by Quincy Jones. And I was like, girl, you just said it all. But anyway, so later on in the day, after they got ready, Evan and Gently took his niece. Y'all know the niece that, you know, his sister does not mesh well with because she's so rebellious and she's all about this black culture and all this other stuff. They ended up taking her to this hair salon to get her hair done. And yeah, it was a decent experience, but again, Gently was on the phone trying to get in touch with her mama. And I was like, Lord, don't nobody have time for this foolishness. So it's just to the point where she's putting everybody on the back burner and really trying to set it off for her mama when her mama is not even here for her like that. Her mama is here for anything that's going to be of use to her, which is money, drugs, mainly money to get the drugs. So it's like, girl, sometimes I really be wanting to shake people, but it's like, because that has not been my experience, me saying I wish that these people could see this and all that, it doesn't mean anything because I haven't experienced that. But it always hurts me when I see stuff like that, because like when I was a social worker, I had several different children on my caseload. Like one of my cases, I had 6 kids on my caseload. The mama had 6 kids. The youngest was like a literal baby. And the oldest, like all of them were under the age of 10. But anyway, the ones that could comprehend and understand the fact that their mama was not around, they lived for her. They knew how she was. Like she would sit up there and try to get the food stamps. And it's like, girl, you ain't got not now one of these children. Why you think you're going to get some food stamps? Why you think you're going to get the food stamps? Why you think you finna get the tax return money? Why? You ain't got not now one of these children, ma'am. And we over here fitting the bill for this woman, even though she didn't need it. We were putting these children in, not in foster care. We were putting these children in daycare for her because she worked. She had her own kids on top of these that she was taking care of. And the only thing she asked, because we said, just name it. What do you want? And the department that I worked in, since it wasn't foster care, we solely worked off of donations. So she was like, you know, I really hate to ask, but, you know, can you provide daycare? And we were like, yeah. And that's literally all that woman asked for was daycare. That is all she asked for. Like, that was crazy to me. She didn't want the food stamps. She didn't need the food stamps. But we actually had to make her get the food stamps. Like, we had to make it so that the money was switched over from their mama to her. And we had to make her claim them kids because she had them for over 6 months out of the year when we had ended up, you know, putting them in relative placement because they were actually her nieces and nephews. So I was like, Lord, I think the woman had all boys and one girl. And I think the baby was a girl. Like, it was crazy. But yeah, y'all. But anyway, I said all that to say that the children who were old enough to understand what was going on with their mama being in and out of their life, they still lived for her and they knew how she was. They saw how she was. Like, they saw with their own 2 eyes how their mama got down, and they still lived for her. And that used to tear my nerves up. But it's like, Gently is grown And it's like, girl, you grown, you know how your mama is. And it's like, I want to shake her, but I can't, because it's like, in all honesty, it's like if she were in front of a mirror, it's like a child. She's looking at herself as a child in the mirror, and she's never gotten out of that space. So it's hard to really get through to somebody who's still feeling the same way they felt as a child. So anyway, I'm sorry, y'all. I digress. I get really into some of this stuff because it'd be really hitting home for me because of certain things I've experienced personally, or I've seen when I was a social worker, or whatever aspect in my life that it happened in. So anyway, y'all, I'm sorry. So yeah, y'all, I was just like, Lord, this is too much. So anyway, I just wish that she would stop putting everybody on the back burner for her mama, because she literally sets it off when her mama come into town. And her parent already told her, like, you got to stop doing this. You know how your mama is. Every couple of months or every couple of years, she blow through town, and you already know why she here. Like, he was reading, but it was from a place of love, and I was tired. Like, girl, stop. But, you know, like I said, you cannot make a child stop being that way. No matter, and it seems as though, to me, from what I've seen, no matter how old some of these people get, they never get over it. Like, they never can get past it. They can never grow from it and just fully accept, okay, this is the way this person is. So anyway, y'all, I'm so sorry for yammering on. So they end up going to the anniversary party. The guy who played Professor Ogilvy from the Parkers, I think his name is Dorian something in real life. I'm trying to actually figure it out without Googling it and all the other stuff. But I think his name is Dorian something in real life. But yeah, the dude who played Professor Ogilvy, he's his daddy in this. And I might be wrong, because my entire life I always got two women mixed up because they looked alike to me. I think the woman who was playing his mama played the man, Virgil Tibbs' wife in The Heat of the Night back in the day, and I always get her and somebody else mixed up because they favor. But I think that is her. I forgot what her name is, but she's a legendary actress. This person that's playing his mama is a legendary actress. But yeah, these are the people who's playing his parents. And yeah, his daddy is toe up. And I was like, oh, you done went off. The party ain't hardly really started like that. Okay. So he done rolled up on Gently and was like, hey, how you doing? I heard so much about you, Gentry. And then, like, when he said Gentry, I was like, wait a minute. Was I not hearing her name correctly the first time? Or is something else going on? And this is before I really, like, for sure knew he was drunk. And Evan ended up correcting him and was like, yeah, her name is Gently. And so, you know, she kind of like me. Everybody done called me everything but my name. And my name literally is spelled the way you pronounce it. And I was just like, how you get all that from that? So I get it. Because I was like, I'm serious. I had gotten to the point where I was like, as long as it's spelled right on checks and my report cards so that I could get the proper credit and pay that I'm owed, I do not care. Say it how you want to say it. I don't care. As long as it's spelled right on those two things, I don't care. But anyway, Gently was just like me. I don't even care. I didn't heard it all. So they end up going into the party, and then, like, they're trying to mingle a little bit. And so then Evan and Gently are off to themselves, and Gently notices a group of women staring, and she's like, what's going on over there? And she had to realize that, you know, those are some of his mama's sorors and all that. And I was like, Lord, they're doing the most. So they ended up rolling up and was like, hey, Evan, how you doing? And, you know, they basically are playing the auntie roles to him, even though they are not legally blood related to him or whatever. And, you know, they talking to them. So I was like, oh, did you get the article that I clipped for you? And, oh, you gonna be this, and oh, you gonna be that. Oh, I'm just so proud of you. And then one of them told Gently that, you know, the dress she had on, the color that she had on was nice and all this other stuff. So then his mama rolled up and he introduced her to his mama. And, you know, it seemed okay. And as soon as Gently walked off, she looked at her neck, and all her sorors looked at her neck. And she has a tattoo on her neck. and she wasn't here for it. And I was like, Lord, here we go. It's gonna be some foolishness. So anyway, they ended up, having a moment, and he went into the kitchen, and, he was just trying to have a moment with his woman. And then his sister came in her feelings. She always upset. And she was like, my daughter always does this. Of course she had to do this of all days. She had to do it on this day. And I'm like, Lord, you mad about a hairstyle. So then even gently was like, was something wrong with her hair? You didn't like it? She was like, no, thank you, girl. It was fine. It was just today of all days. And so she is just over, just stressed and just all over the place for no reason. It's like, girl, you need to get a handle on that. She stay mad and upset about nothing. Like, she's gonna have a heart attack and die. Like, there are people, I know people who are like that. They get upset about the most nothing in the world. And I'm like, you finna kill yourself for no reason. But so she was like, well, just distract me. Because they were trying to tell her, you ain't gotta wash dishes and stuff. Because, the party was literally going on. And she was like, no, I'm trying to distract myself. It's just so much stuff going on, whatever. And so y'all distract me. But Evan, what's going on with you? How's work? And so he was like, work's great. My boss basically offered me this promotion. And so she was like, oh my God, congratulations. Da, 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 da. And so it was literally an amazing position with him being the vice president of the actual company. Now, y'all know from the other reviews that I've done, and just you've seen the show, if you've seen the show, that he ain't trying to stay there. He's not. He's been there like 5 years or whatever. And so he was like, well, I'm going to take the weekend and I'm going to think about it or whatever. And so his sister looking like, okay, what you mean? What does that even think about? And she was trying to get gently to weigh in on it too, like to get her to agree with her. And she was like, well, I think he should do whatever makes him happy. And so she was like, that ain't what put food in your stomach and keep a roof over your head. And I was like, girl, if you don't get somewhere, ain't no and my thing is this: if you are unhappy like that, I understand. Do what you got to do until you can get out and do what makes you happy. So I'm here for it. I understand. Trust me, I understand. So anyway, y'all, his mama ended up coming in there, and some words were exchanged, and reading was happening, and she's very uppity. I'm sorry. She's uppity and rude for no reason. Like, I wouldn't have I'm sorry. If Gently had slapped her, I would have been like, ooh, that's messed up, but ooh. Because it would have been something that she would have had coming. Like, girl, you doing too much. She is so uppity for no reason. So y'all, she ends up getting a phone call from her cousin. And her cousin was like, hey, I'm just calling to let you know your mama over here. So she was like, oh, your mama, did my mama tell you to call me? And so she was like, no, that ain't why I called you. No, that ain't it. No, that's not how it happened. I'm just letting you know she over here and that she's not going to be able to stay over here. So, she was over there playing cards and catching up with people or whatever, y'all. Everybody is tired. Everybody know how her mama get down, and ain't nobody here for it. So then her mama get on the phone and was like, hey, Gently, get on over here. Get on over here. So she was like, well, Mom, I'm actually at a party with my boyfriend and I can't leave right now. So she was like, well, you a grown woman. You could do what you want to do. I was like, ma'am, if you don't go somewhere and sit down. So anyway, y'all, the party continues, and the sister ends up, doing a speech for the parents, and they present them with gifts that Evan purchased, which were pieces of jewelry for each of the parents. And also, what I forgot to mention was, while he was at the jeweler, it's some jeweler he been going to for the longest that actually know the parents and all that. And he was able to find the pieces that he asked them for. And then after the man went to the back to put the stuff up because he said he was going to polish it some more, he was looking at a bracelet. And it was a $4,000 bracelet. And the brother-in-law, which is, of course, his sister's brother, his sister's husband, I'm sorry. He was like, what you doing looking at that bracelet for? That $4,000 bracelet for your mama? He looked at him like, and you know not. You know good and well it's for Gently. And he made, like, that brother-in-law been setting it off since day one. Like, no, what we're not finna do is this. So it's gonna be a mess. It's a lot. Y'all, they're in the middle of doing speeches. Evan went up there and did a speech while reading his mama the whole time to my son. I want to make a toast to my parents for teaching me, for teaching me to have manners and to treat people with respect. And I mean, reading, I was like, oh my gosh, no. And it's like, people were here for it, but the mama already knew what was going on. She was getting read in front of everybody, and it was a big group of people at that party. So the daddy told down, he over here still cheersing it up and just got his drink and his two-step going on. And I was like, bruh, if you don't go somewhere and sit down. I'm talking about literally after he said what he said, the mama was like, I need to talk to you for a minute. And walked off. The daddy turned around and politely threw up. And I was like, bruh, you is doing too much in your life. You need to stop. Why are you drinking like that? But anyway, y'all, so now him and the mama going at it, something terrible. It got to the point where she called Gently a low-class piece of A. Tell me why Gently was coming up there to actually talk to him and be like, well, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and head out and, meet up with my mama at my cousin's house, when she overheard it. So I'm talking about they was going back and forth. It was so bad. Like, he was yelling at his mom and everything. I was like, Lord. And I mean, he kept trying to keep his composure, but his mama kept trying it. She even had, like, she really tried him. She sat up there and was like, oh, well, this person is in town. And I mean, she really tried to disregard the fact that this man got a whole girlfriend over here. She was like, oh, well, I'm basically trying to hook him up with some random heifer. I was like, ma'am, he got a whole girlfriend over here. He been with this woman for 3 months. He's very serious about her. Like, what are you talking about? Why are you trying to dismiss his relationship? Y'all, anyway, it was just back and forth. Gently overheard it. And so, he ended up chasing after Gently. And she was like, she is just so used to being disappointed by people that the fact that she said that, it's not that it didn't faze her. It's just, she was just like, I'm used to it. Like, whatever. It just is what it is. And despite how everybody tried her the entire night, she was trying to get him to go back in there to the party. He was like, nah, I'm done. They don't need to be treating you like this. So they ended up leaving and they went for a drive. And this was like after 1 something in the morning, went off for a drive. Then they show after 5 a.m. where I don't know if they were at LAX, somewhere near LAX or somewhere. They were somewhere near where planes are landing and taking off. So they ended up taking like towels out and they were just laid out on the asphalt, concrete, whatever it is over there. And they were just talking. Like, I was just like, that is just so sweet. I can't. And she ended up discussing the day that her mama actually left her. She said that she had came home from school with some boy. Now, this was when she was really, really young. And everything was how it was, normally looked. And macaroni and cheese, boxed macaroni and cheese literally was just on the stove in a pot. Like, her mama left it there for her. It was still hot, all that. So she said she politely, ate it. And she sat there and waited and waited and waited. And her mama never showed up. I was like, what is wrong with you? And everything was literally how she left it. It's not like, oh, she went on a binger out of nowhere and this was just something that just snuck up out of nowhere. Like, everything was in its place, and it seemed as though, I don't know if this is just from a child's mind or whatever, but from the way that she described it, it was like there were no kind of signs that her mama was like this, had been doing drugs and none of that. And it's like she just up and left. So she was just like, people have been trying to get me to see my mama for who she is. And, I don't get the love that I want to get from her. And Evan told her, look for it in me. And that's when he told her that he loves her. And she said the same back to him, and they kissed. And it was really cute. That was so cute. I've always wanted to do like him. I've actually seen men that like are the real deal that are like him. That is so sweet. So sweet. But anyway, I'm sorry this one was so long. Like, the most was happening, and then y'all. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this review. I'll try to reel it in next time because the most started happening, and I just felt the need to elaborate. So I'm sorry. Anyway, I hope you have a good one. Thank y'all for watching this. Like this if you want to. Y'all have a good one.